What is going on, everybody? It's your man Micah back of Versatile Plays, back with another video, back here to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 3 out of 6. Check out this Van Gogh baby portrait, you know what I'm saying? Fire. I'm working on potentially getting another lens that will kind of help showcase this area a little bit more, but for now we're about to have fun talking about episode 3. And one of the things that I liked about episode 3 was it was better than episodes 1 and 2, really, from the standpoint of finally getting Vader, seeing and really getting that question answered about Reva and why she was coming off as the monstrous as she was, and that is because she has been she's been on essentially her own secret mission directed by Vader, which is to go after Kenobi. So that explains a lot of what's going on with Reva, and I like that. That definitely helped, put at ease the unsettling nature of her decision making and how just ruthless she has been. Not to say she shouldn't be as an Inquisitor, but now that picture is fully painted for us, so that's something that I really appreciated about that. I also want to say I liked the nuances that they gave us throughout the episode with the appearance of Anakin from afar, essentially an illusion, if you will. Some could say it was an illusion because of being out in the desert. Others could say that Anakin potentially could have been projecting himself to Obi-Wan, knowing where he is, and essentially letting him know he's coming after him. And then the nuances between Leia and Obi-Wan, how you can tell she's very force sensitive at such a young age, and she's calling stuff out, but she just doesn't know exactly what she's talking about, of course, due to being naive and being 10, but then also not even really knowing that it's the force that she's feeling. And so being able to have that dialogue between her and Kenobi was amazing, if you felt it. And some think that Obi-Wan and Padme, or Obi-Wan may have kind of like Padme. I don't necessarily get that vibe. I think that maybe unbeknownst to him, he didn't realize how much he actually cared for Padme. And I think that care came into play because he saw what was going on with Anakin. When you think back to episode 3, when he found out that the kids were Anakin's, he felt so bad. He was, I'm so sorry. Like you could see the anguish even within him, knowing what was about to happen with Anakin and how much Padme really didn't know what was about to happen to her and her children as a result of Anakin and what he decided to do, which was join the dark side and inevitably become Darth Vader. So I don't think Obi-Wan necessarily had feelings for Padme. I just think he really cared for her, and seeing what happened to Leia's father and Anakin, he wishes he could have been there, most likely, to help her. And then to get the story, the development about Obi having a brother, and you can almost kind of sense the pain within him and the questioning when it comes to the Jedi's way, when it comes to children being taken from their families at a young age. Even phrasing in that way, you really see the pain kind of start to seep out in Kenobi, and for him to reflect on that really kind of lets you in on his mindset. And although he accepted a lot of what was going on, what was really going on up in here, especially when you consider he had a relationship with Satine, back on Mandalore, and Kenobi's in a conundrum himself, if you will, in terms of his own emotions, but him being able to essentially check it and keep him at bay. And you wonder how healthy is that really, but thus far he's been able to keep it together, even 10 years down the line post Order 66. And you see how, although he's very much so depressed and distraught when it comes to the Force and how much he's internalized being a failure to, if not the Jedi themselves, Anakin Skywalker, Luke, and Leia. So it's very interesting to see and feel through Obi-Wan's eyes and feelings during this time period. So very, very, very good, very clean to see there. And then you had the hitchhiker pickup dude, I forgot his name, but he how he kind of double crossed Obi and Leia right at the very end by basically giving them up to the Empire. Obi, of course, taking them out no problem, then having some surprising help from an insider who's working with, basically trying to smuggle people in and out of the system who are Jedis or who essentially don't agree with the Empire. That was also good to see. Then we got the reference to Quinlan Vos, which is a Jedi, and knowing that he at least may still be alive during this time, which is pretty cool. I'm not as familiar with it, but seeing people react to that was, of course, cool to see, because now we're finally getting to see Star Wars do some fan service to their fans with some of the things in the comic books that, you know, we want to see played out on screen. So that was really good to see. And then when when Obi-Wan felt Vader's force, felt his presence, and how it was nauseating. You could see him just almost topple over. That let him know, oh, Anakin's here. And then on top of that, when Vader came and was causing havoc in as he was walking through this planet looking for Obi-Wan, when he felt Obi-Wan's presence and turned it up a notch, it was like, what? We have never gotten this from Vader before on screen. It was so good to finally see that from him on screen. So that was good to see. And then watching Obi-Wan basically say, bump this, I'm out. Obi was running. He was like, I can't. And I mean, think about it. Let's say you play basketball. Let's say you a star athlete and you leave that sport for 10 years and you come back. You're not just about to start swishing and hitting layups with no problems. And like, no, you're gonna need to warm up before you finally get, you brush that dust off and you get back to it. So Obi-Wan's cut himself off for 10 years. He could not handle that fight. I mean, Darth Vader was beating him with one hand and then dragged him through fire. Like, Vader is not playing any games, but you got to see a glimpse, I think, of two things. A, Anakin is still there because he let Obi-Wan escape, but then also I think that's part of Vader's Sith-like ego to allow him to escape, because he wants a real fight with Obi-Wan. He wants to settle this for real. It was too easy ragdolling him with the Force. So of course he's like, okay, all right, you need some time. The years have made you weak. Woo! Good. And then let's cut back to Reva real quick and seeing how she's still kind of on her mission in fulfilling what Vader wants, and even being promised the Grand Inquisitor, title and position if she can help him find Vader. And then of course you got the fifth brother who doesn't like that at all, and then now he's on his own trying to talk with Vader, because once Reva told him that he was talking with Vader, he's like, well, I'm gonna go do the same thing. And so now they were fighting and fussing for that grand position. So that was interesting to see. And then watching how Reva responded when she found the hideout and seeing the symbol and potentially who may have been there, that really just made her reflect herself. I have a feeling that Reva is going to end up being like Trilla from Fallen Order. The reason why I say that is because the Inquisitorius has been written all throughout this show, basically. Specifically, you see it and them being in it this episode 3. In Fallen Order, that's the only other place we've gotten to see the Inquisitorius, with Cal and Ciri, infiltrating, fighting Trilla, and then Trilla changing at the very last second after fighting and losing to Cal, all to be killed by Vader. I think we're going to get some kind of reference to that in this show. And I think it's going to be pointed towards Reva, because I think Reva may also be struggling with being on the light side versus dark side, even though she's on the dark side right now. But I think she might be having that tug of war within herself. And I think that it's very, very possible that Trilla gets mentioned to her. Remember what happened to Trilla? I had a sister that tried to cross me at the end, and blah, blah, blah. Like some kind of dialogue going to take place like that, and it's going to be a heavy reference to Fallen Order, Trilla, the Inquisitorius, Cal, and Ciri barely escaping because Vader was wrecking that place trying to get to him. So I think we're gonna get some. I don't know if we're gonna get Cal to pop up in this, but I definitely think we're gonna get a reference to Cal and Fallen Order. That's what's gonna be so hyped up about this. And maybe it gives us some gems into, you know, the second game, you know, Jedi Survivor. That's possible as well. That droid definitely didn't necessarily seem like a droid because it had a some kind of, you know, crowbar in its hand. So that droid may be somebody else. It may be a person and not just a complete robot. So that's also interesting to be on the lookout for. Reva somehow bypasses everybody, and maybe this is again a look into her abilities. I know somebody had it in the comics. Cal kind of sort of had it, where when you touch things, you kind of know where they've been, and it gives you a picture of what's been going on with that item. I forgot what it's called. Cytometry or something. I don't know. I can't remember, but Star Wars Theory referenced it. I think Reva could have similar abilities because she was able to find Leia and take out the pilot with no problems. And unless and when she walked into the room, no, because that wouldn't be the case either. Because I remember, what's her name, Tana or Tala, one of the two. She told Leia to keep going and maybe hit a left or right or whatever. You're gonna see a pilot and tell him to take you out of here. So there's definitely directions that Leia still needed in order to make it out of there. I don't think they have the directions just laid out in plain ink or or drawn out in the hideout. So for Reva to kind of step in and then almost just get a sense of, I know what's happening right now, I think she has some type of deeper abilities there that gives her that foresight into knowing what's going on, because she took out the pilot and found Leia, which means we potentially might get another chase scene again, or some type of chase situation with Leia, and it's pretty interesting. I'm a little shocked and surprised that we're getting this much about Leia, which is fine. I mean, actually, it's kind of nice to get some build up about Leia, but we're not getting anything in regards to Luke. I mean, we haven't made it back to Tatooine yet. Like, that's the crazy part about this as well. And I think that we did get that scene of Luke kind of overseeing from a distance. Obi-Wan checking out Luke from a distance. I think we got that in like the first episode. I'm not 100% certain. We've seen it in the trailers, but we definitely are doing this constant chase with Leia, and it can get a little exhausting because it's just kind of like, maybe we just got her. Can she finally escape and go on? And let's kind of, what else can Obi-Wan have to deal with outside of having to find Leia and chase her down again? So that's the only thing I didn't like about that. But outside of that, definitely a good episode. Good episode overall. The dialogue was great. Seeing Vader was great. His presence was menacing. The Inquisitors and the infighting is hilarious. The dialogue between Luke and Obi-Wan and Leia, as well as the troopers and how they, you get to see them in their dumminess ways. So it was a good episode. Looking forward to episode 4. Hopefully we get some more Vader again. And yeah, hopefully, clearly we know that Obi got injured, so we're gonna probably see him recuperate and realize he needs to really meditate and tap into that force and start warming up and shake that dust off, because we ain't playing no games. And I think we're also gonna get Qui-Gon Jinn with so many references to him and Obi-Wan reaching out to him. He's still not as strong in the force because he's been cut off from it so long. He's really gotta build that muscle back up, if you will. And I think we're gonna get force presence Qui-Gon Jinn in this. So definitely looking forward to that. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode, this series so far. What are some things that stood out to you? What are you looking forward to? What are your questions and concerns? Let me know down in the comment section below. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss my videos or my live streams, so that we can sit back and see what's cracking. It's your man Micah signing out until the next video or live stream. Wait for and keep it gaming.